almost Valentine's Day. Do you need an idea of what to do? Or are you spending it alone? Because that's okay too. Well, today we're going to be taking cake mix and turning it into cookies. This is a perfect activity to spend quality time with your kids or with a significant other, or you can make these ahead of time and hand them out to those people who are important in your life. So, let's get to baking. So, I am using, for my cake mix, Party Rainbow Chip. It doesn't matter which one you use, it's whatever you prefer. I'm doing this just because it's what I have. Usually I'll buy 3 or 4 boxes of cake mix when they're on sale and you can get a killer deal. So basically they end up being like $1 a box. And I will grab multiples of those for whenever cupcakes or making cookies, or if like someone's having a birthday party or you get invited somewhere, they're like, hey, bring a dessert. It's quick, fast, and easy, and are great for last minute guests as well. So keep a couple of boxes on this of cake mix on hand. Same with brownie mix. Perfect for emergencies. So let's preheat our oven to 350 and get that going. And we're going to add our oil. And then we're gonna add our eggs. And I'd advise you to crack your eggs in a separate bowl whenever you're baking, because if you have one bad egg and you crack them straight into your mixing bowl, you've now just ruined every single thing that you have in there. And sometimes you don't have enough ingredients to start all over. So be smart, think ahead, crack beforehand. Now to mix. Now, if you wanted to add anything to this, like say you're using vanilla cake mix and you want to have some fun, you can throw in some chocolate chips, you can throw in some sprinkles, you could add like lemon zest, orange zest. If you wanted to do like a chocolate cake, you could add walnuts if you like nuts in your cookies or cake. If you wanted, when you make chocolate cake, go ahead and throw in some crumbled graham cracker and some marshmallows, and you got yourself kind of like a s'mores. If you wanted to go further with your chocolate cake, you could add walnuts and marshmallows, and then you could have Rocky Road cookies as well. So really, whatever you fancy, you can do. But I'm gonna leave this as is because they're sprinkles, and mainly I'm making these for Valentine's Day for my kids, because who doesn't like cookies? So now that I have this, there's a few things you can do. It says if your dough is sticky, you can add extra flour to it to make it not so sticky. It also says if you want, you can put the batter in the fridge to let it firm up. Because when you put cookie batter into the fridge, what it does is it firms up the fats in it. So when you go to cook it, they don't spread out as much because the fats are still solid. So by the time it starts to melt in the oven to spread out, you have smaller cookies that are a little bit thicker. You learn something new every day, huh? So I'm gonna actually pop this in the fridge for about 10 minutes or so. And when we come back, I will show you how to scoop them out and we will put them on the cookie sheet and bake them. So we'll be right back. Now I understand why guys do it with their power tools. So, you're gonna scoop your dough in 2 balls. It doesn't matter the size. If you want to do teaspoons, you can do teaspoons. If you want to do tablespoons, you can do tablespoons. If you just want the biggest cookies you could possibly make, maybe for like ice cream sandwiches, and then you take them out and you put sandwich and then you roll them in sprinkles and put them in the freezer. This is your guy right here. However, I would like my cookies to fit inside my coffee cup, because that's when I'm going to drink them. I want my cookies to fit in my coffee cup, because that's what I'm going to be doing with it, is dipping my cookies in coffee. For those who don't drink coffee, try hot chocolate. Cookies and hot chocolate are phenomenal as an afternoon snack. And if you have kids, on a snowy day like it's been doing here, there's nothing better than hot chocolate and fresh baked cookies. Pull the batter out of the fridge, roll them up, and stick them on the cookie sheet. And then we're gonna bake them in the oven. So let's get started on that. Did you know, in a lot of places where they teach cooking, they will put a mirror above the person's head and stick it to the ceiling or above them, so everyone in the room can see what's going on? Because it's very hard to get up close and personal when there's like 20 plus people in a room. So if you ever decide to take culinary classes, that's what they do. So now we're just gonna take a batter. As you'll see, when you read the recipe for this over on Patreon, which I do have free memberships for, you'll notice that it says parchment paper. You'll see I'm not using parchment paper. I'm using a silicone mat. If you have parchment paper, perfect. Should you substitute wax paper? Absolutely not. Wax paper will burn and it'll make your whole house or wherever you're using a kitchen at smell disgusting. Silicone mats are great. They're reusable if you care about that type of stuff for the environment. But just remember when you use a silicone mat that they have heat restrictions. Why do they have heat restrictions? Because when you put something like silicone or even parchment paper or certain types of Teflon pans, when they get higher than a certain degree, certain subparticles in your material start to break down and will leach into your food, making you sick and ultimately destroying what you were trying to create. And basically, like parchment paper, if you were to make sourdough bread with it, you take it out and you just go like this and it crumbles. It's kind of cool, kind of disturbing. So now that I have all these cookies out, I am going to place them in the oven for about, it says 8 to 12 minutes. Last time I made these, I ended up doing 15, but we will start with 8 and slowly add. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'm putting these in my tap oven and bake. Turn the timer off, but not the oven. Let's see how these go. Ooh, they are looking absolutely awesome. I'm actually gonna put these in here for about another 3 minutes. Usually the first batch, kind of hit and miss because you got a cold cookie sheet, so it might take a little longer the first time around and need less time the second time around. So I'm gonna put these in here and bake for another 3 minutes. So the 3 minutes are up. And they're not glossy. And the cookies, some of them I can see, have a golden bottom. And as you can see, that's what I mean by these cookies have a nice golden bottom to them. Also, right now, my house smells entirely like cake. And it smells delicious, and I never want it to stop. So I'm gonna let these cool, move them to a cookie rack, and start all over with the second batch. Now, if you wanted, you could add frosting to these, but I think I'm gonna try and use edible marker to decorate them with little love messages. So when we come back, we'll have some cooled cookies. Cookie racks. Oops. Haha. They're an awesome invention because they let air flow through, cool your cookies faster. They're perfect for dipped treats and perfect for letting the glaze fall through when you're making something fun. Well, let's have some fun. So I'm gonna take a cookie, and I got these awesome edible markers for my birthday, and I'm gonna take a pink one and use, there's two sides. There's a brush and then there's a stiff, which is basically that, or the brush that literally looks like a paintbrush. That's why it's brush. I, however, am going to use the stiff side to color. I'll take this and I'm going to write cutie pie. If you're gonna do something like this, the cookies are soft, so be forewarned, they might just get pushed in like I did there. But I'm gonna decorate a few and I'll show you what they look like when they're all done. So as you can see, I wrote a few on here, like stud muffin, cutie pie, you rock, awesome love, I heart you, and one of me and my husband's favorite, you leave me breathless. If you know, you know. So now you can continue to decorate these like this. You could add some frosting, put some sprinkles on. You could even have your kids help you decorate the tops of these cookies as well. This is a very kid-friendly kitchen project, and I think it's time to try them out. So, got my coffee. Again, sadly it's decaf, because if I were to have coffee, it would be my third cup, and then I just get to be a handful. It's like I'm a toddler that way. Anyways, let's get to trying these cookies. So they're soft like cupcakes. They're nice and brown on the bottom, so they got that little bit of crunch. And honestly, you could go with a regular frosting, you could go with a cream cheese frosting, you could go with a flavored frosting. It would all taste good. But honestly, I wouldn't want to change anything about these. These are a perfect afternoon snack with some hot chocolate or some coffee. And just good, fun little project to do at home. It doesn't have to be for Valentine's Day. It can be for birthdays or whenever you just get a hankering for a different type of cookie. You could, even if you wanted, take chocolate and melt it and dip them halfway if you wanted, and add a couple of sprinkles on top. But that's if you want to get really fancy, and that requires time. And sometimes you just don't have a lot of it. So for my kitchen,